Petra's best of the best, Father's Day predictions, Samsung to take over, iCloud issues, and Android malware. I'm Kaylee Moscow, Web Marketing Coordinator with Petra, and it's time for the Petra 5 in 5. I've spent hours scouring the net for the 5 hottest stories. Let's see if we can condense them down to 5 minutes. It's show and tell time. Last Thursday, the Oklahoma City chapter of the American Marketing Association held its 2011 Excellence in Marketing Awards to honor local marketing teams who have showcased effective marketing through stated objectives that produce measurable, tangible results. Petra's submission for the competition was its innovative application management system, codenamed NAMS, entered under the single marketing tactic category. The award of excellence was given to Petra for successfully remodeling and streamlining the entire Petra application approval process into the consumer electronics distribution industry's first complete, fully electronic customer application system. Recognized for increases in accuracy and speed of application approval, high customer conversion rates, and rise in overall customer service satisfaction, the NAMS project was also given the Best of the Best award as Oklahoma City's top marketing accomplishments for 2010. We're very excited and honored to have been presented with both these awards and are working hard to continue to improve the website to keep up its award-winning standards. If you're not yet a Petra customer, I would encourage you to apply now using Petra's award-winning application management system. It is the best of the best after all. Father's Day is fast approaching, and research shows that it's going to be a great one for retailers, with CE spending expecting to be up 13% year over year to an average ticket of $67.20, according to a consumer intention survey by the National Retail Federation and Big Research. Said NRF President and CEO Matthew Shea, quote, "Spending on dad has taken a backseat for the past few years, but some kids and wives are planning to make up for lost time this Father's Day. Shoppers seem to be more excited when it comes to gift giving, an encouraging sign for retailers and dads everywhere," end quote. Everyone's trying to get on the Father's Day sales dollars, estimated at $1.3 billion, by cutting prices and introducing high-profile products. Petra's team has put together an awesome selection of Father's Day products for you in our Father's Day e-flyer, with everything from gifts for the dad that loves electronics to the dad that loves the great outdoors, and you can check it out online at petra.com/Father's Day. Believe it or not, in spite of all the hype that Aaron and I have been spitting, it's not HTC or Apple that's getting ready to overtake Nokia as the global leader in the smartphone market, but Samsung. Following a rapid decline, falling from 65.6% market share of all smartphone sales in Q2 of 2007 to a 24.3% share in the first quarter of this year, for the first time in 15 years, Nokia won't be number one. Believing their Symbian OS to be enough to go up against Apple's iOS and Google's Android platform, Nokia was beaten to a pulp, finally caving and deciding too late to switch to Microsoft's Windows Phone 7 software for smartphones this February. Samsung, on the other hand, embraced Android from the get-go, a decision that has paid off, along with some others that have set them up to take over the market. So what are they? To begin with, they didn't waste their time with a bunch of multiple devices. They did the Galaxy S and they did it right, tweaking it for the different carriers, but with one main design allowing for a larger return on R&D. Samsung also designs their own processors, making them less likely to face supply chain constraints for chips. In addition to using Android, they've got a just-in-case OS called Bada that they've developed for future growth, and they're not saving it for emergencies. They have actually shipped 3.5 million Bada phones in the first quarter of 2011, a million more sales than Windows Phone 7 had. They've also built their own media ecosystem, offering books, magazines, video rentals, and purchases, as well as a full-featured music store, giving customers a one-stop shopping experience for media content and putting them close to on par with Apple products. They are ready to take over, and if they don't, Apple is waiting in the wings. So you know that we're all pumped about iCloud, but which one? That's right, apparently Apple's version isn't the only iCloud floating around out there, and the original iCloud Communications is claiming damages and infringements, saying that Apple copied their name and that the mix-up is hurting its business and confusing customers. The complaint reads, quote, "The goods and services with which Apple intends to use the iCloud mark are identical to or closely related to the goods and services that have been offered by the iCloud Communications under the iCloud marks since its formation in 2005, end quote. I didn't notice you allowing me to download unsynced music and apps to my phone this whole time, but maybe I was missing something. So what do they want? Well, all of Apple's profits from iCloud this far, and for Apple to immediately cease using the iCloud name. Now, this isn't the first time that Apple's run into this name knockoff problem. In fact, they kind of run into it every time they introduce something. With iPhone, it was Cisco. With the iPad, it was Fujitsu. And with iAds, it was Innovative Media Group. And we can see how each case turned out, obviously in Apple's favor. The difference in this case is that Apple acquired the iCloud domain and U.S. trademark from Swedish software company Experian earlier this year, and iCloud Communications never held a registered trademark. We'll see how this turns out, but I'm guessing iCloud remains Apple's, whether or not it cost them some coin. You know the saying, too good to be true? Well, if you're an Android user who thought you were going to get away with cheating your way through Angry Birds, that app you downloaded was really malware. As discovered by an assistant professor of computer science at North Carolina State University, 10 applications in the Android marketplace were found to be infected with malware, including an Angry Birds cheat app. On June 5th, he reported it to Google, which suspended the apps on the same day. The malware, named Plankton, didn't attempt to root the phones, but rather run in the background secretly, exploiting the Dalvik-class loading capability to stay stealthy and dynamically extend its functionality. Once the malware was fired up, it loaded as a background service, scouring the device for user data, including the device ID code, and reporting back to the remote server. The server would then parse the data and send a link back to the malware, which then downloaded an executable and ran nearly invisible in the background, collecting more data, such as browser bookmarks, browser history, homepage shortcuts, and runtime log info. Google has since removed the infected apps, adding to the 26 apps they had to remove 2 weeks ago and the 50 they had to remove in March. Ouch, bad form. That's your Petra 5 and 5. Have a great week, and we'll catch up with you next time for more hot industry news.